महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महादेवमुदं शिरसा नमामि महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि. My pot is still here. Now the pot, I said yesterday, in the morning I said mitya. Mitya is what we say asat. So for the asat, there is no independent bhava, independent existence, independent being. So pot has no being. Correct? Pot has no being. The atma of the pot, atma means being. The being of the pot, svarupa of the pot, these are the words we generally use. Svarupa, atma, or the tattva of the pot. Essence of the pot. There is no essence. There is no. What is there is only just this. We use words in order to reveal something. The being of this pot is in clay. Is clay. Correct? Being is clay. What is the distance between clay and the pot? Huh? Now you can understand now. That's why trikalepi tishtati. Therefore, when the pot is also, clay is. Pot is not also, clay is. Pot is subject to destruction. Pot is subject to get cracked. And this is a cracked pot. Really. It's a cracked pot. Really, it's a cracked pot. I don't know why they say crackpot, but I don't understand that. But anyway, this is a crackpot. Doesn't sound well, I think. Doesn't sound well. If it sounds well, then it's not a crackpot, it's called empty pot. So, anyway, this is a pot. But pot is cracked. Clay is not cracked. Understand? Clay is not cracked. You don't say cracked clay. Or you can say maybe powder clay, clay powder, powdered clay. That's again what is powdered is what? Time bound. That is not clay. Whatever is powdered is not clay. If clay is lump, then it should always be lump. Clay is, lumpness is not an attribute of clay. Powderness also is not the attribute of clay. And the potness is not an attribute of clay. The lidness, jarness is not an attribute of clay. If it is so, then wherever there is clay, that should be there. It is not there. At the same time, this potness doesn't exist anywhere else. Correct? This potness doesn't exist anywhere else. Where does it exist? In clay. That means what? Potness belongs to clay. You understand now? This is called Vedanta. Swamiji, now I understand. What? I can't understand Vedanta. Now I understand. Ba, ba, ba. Why? You said potness belongs to clay. I thought I am understanding. Suddenly you say it doesn't, it is not an attribute of clay. What? True. If it is an attribute of clay, wherever yatra clay, wherever there is clay, there will be what? Potness. You can't say that. Wherever there is clay, there is potness, you cannot say. Wherever there is clay, there can be anything. Wherever there is clay, there can be a lump, there can be a jar, there can be a cauldron, there can be a lid, there can be a cup. Sometimes there can also be brain. क्या बात है? There can be a lot of things, understand? And therefore, so partners is not the quality of clay, but we have to say, partners is an incidental property of clay. Malum ho gaya? Clay is to be understood minus partners, minus jarness. And clay is trikale pitishtati iti sat. Clay is what? Sat. Let us say. What is this? Huh? You just to talk as you would talk. Don't talk like, because after all my, just to talk, what will you say? Yeah. This is, I don't like this special talking. Just to talk. What would you do there? So what is that? It's a bowl. Okay, it's a bowl. What bowl? Styrofoam bowl. Okay. Now this styrofoam bowl has got a human mind. Understand? This is a very important thing. It has got a human mind. Now it has got a lot of problems now. Hey, how are you? Okay. Why? Doesn't seem to be a very positive answer. What's happening? You're not happy? How can I be happy? Why? I have no job satisfaction. No, I am no, from the day I was born, I have no job. Why? Because nobody used me. I am sitting under this desk along with these idiots called parts and all that. And nothing, I have no job, nothing. And in fact, I don't like this birth at all. Why? In a way, I am better off. Why? Because I saw the other bowls and cups and all that. I saw our own people. So, do you know what happens? They do use, they have a sip of water and throw it away. Nobody cares for them. I don't like that also. I don't want to be disposable. I don't like to be disposable. At least in India, if I am born, they will wash it and keep it for a few days. There's got two fellows here. And so, what a life it is. And I am very fragile. And any time I can be destroyed. I am a mortal. Then I have to tell this bowl what? Yeah. This bowl's problem is the same. It will be always the same. Bowl is disposable. Even if you become a cup, disposable. Even in India, you will be finally disposable. You only a few times they will wash and keep, and afterwards they will also throw away. You are always disposable. And therefore you will never get rid of this complex. No, I would like to do some yoga. Then also you will feel the same. So if you do some Shirasasanam, this way you do. Shirasasanam, you will still be the same disposable. You are a mortal. Anytime you can be broken. You are still disposable. This is somebody's advice. Therefore, you have to go to heaven in order to achieve something. So I have to bring in the theologies, Then only I am satisfied. So this is the contemporary problems. We have to discuss that a little bit. Then I come and tell this about. Do you know who you are? What a question. Where are you from? India? Yes, I am from India. Ah, from the question I understand. You are seeing me and you are asking me who are you? I am bowl. I'm a bowl. I'm a bowl. I'm a styrofoam bowl. Very light. Of course I'm a mortal. I tell this fellow, hey, even let them throw away anywhere. You are bio non-degradable. You are eternal. After millions of years also you'll be sitting there. All others go. For you, abhava doesn't exist. Understand? Relatively. Understand? And this bowl doesn't have bhava. Independent of what? Independent of styrofoam. Styrofoam doesn't depend upon this thing. It can exist in any form. You understand this? So simple. Therefore, asat is mitya here. Morning we have decided. So that which depends upon something else is mithya. Therefore, from that also we can understand that which does not depend for its being upon anything else is sathyam. Perfect. Correct? So in the example you understand. While the styrofoam is mithya, no. While the cup or the bowl is mithya, the styrofoam is satyam. Styrofoam also is mithya. Understand? Don't go away with the idea. Swami just told styrofoam is satyam. Because another next sentence you forget. Styrofoam is satyam, clay is satyam, all right. Suppose I say clay is satyam. Yeah, clay is satyam. Then I have got completion of the sentence. But that satyam, tamasi, you are. So that is not. That is why be careful. So sentence, if it is complete, you will be in trouble. And therefore, in fact, suppose I say you are clay, and the one who says that is what? It's not acceptable. What I say, that only up to this point, that while the cup depends entirely upon the pot, depends upon the clay, clay doesn't depend upon the pot. Clay is not subject to destruction. Pot draws its being. Therefore, so for the clay, abhavaha na vidyate. Understand? Abhava, non-existence is not there for the clay, relatively speaking. Whereas the clay, whereas the cup or the pot is bound by time. It is an incidental attribute. Once you say it has no being, it becomes what? Once you say pot has no being, then it becomes what? Huh? Once it has no being, green has no being, blue has no being, it becomes what? An adjective, an attribute. It has no being. It is only an attribute. And so the pot has no being, but we deal with it as though it's a being. That's our problem. Then we say clay pot, brass pot, silver pot, because pot is the being and clay is an adjective. What is the truth? What is the truth? Pot is the attribute, clay is the truth. Think of that. If it is an attribute. And again, what kind of attribute? There Vedanta scores. This is what we say. While pot is an incidental attribute, we have to say clay transcends potness. It is not, it doesn't have any big meaning except that partness is not a part of clay. This is what we say transcendental. Transcendental. It is nothing, you use it all the time. When you say in your culture, it is there in this our culture now, current culture, modern culture, there is an expression that is called touch wood. How is the job now? We have to ask this also nowadays. So, how is the job? You don't ask, do you have a job, but you ask, how is your job? Then you say, Amaji, touch wood, I still have the job. Touch wood, I have the job. It's called bell curve. They have got one. In order to get rid of people. So bell curve, they say, this side, this is the lava side, the corner. And then afterwards, that's horn. This is what they're like a Chinese hat. And that one is cut. As long as you are in the middle, you are safe. Understand? How is the job? Touch wood, Swamiji, it's good. Touch wood, when he says, just listen. When he says touch wood, he doesn't go to the woods and touches some wood and then comes. Just to say the touch wood. The touch wood idea he got, he just got out, shot out. Why? To touch the wood and come and continue with the conversation. Then what does he do? The nearest chair, the handle of the chair, the table, even suppose the table has got some tablecloth, etc., you transcend the tablecloth, you transcend the table also, and then say, touch wood. Correct? This is called transcendence. Everything else is transcendental, understand? That's all. All humbug. Transcendental meditation. Yeah, one transcendental, you don't do anything. Only transcendental meditation. This is transcendental. You transcend the table. You transcend the chair. Because it is wooden. So you want to only touch wood. You don't want to touch the table. Understand? Then if you want to touch the table, it can be steel table. But you want to touch wood, therefore wooden table, wooden chair. If nothing is available, then the culture is you touch your head. I don't understand the meaning of that even today, but then he touches his head. Touch wood, he says. What do you make out of that? What do you make? Head is only an appearance, what is there is wood, understand? So anyway, that's what I understand. So anyway, touch wood. You transcend. You transcend the table, transcend the cloth that is there, and wood. That is the clay. The clay transcends the pot. Potness is not an aberration of clay. Potness is an incidental attribute. Or even sometimes you say superimposed. With the superimposed, etc., somebody is involved in this. That's why I don't accept this superimposed word itself. It's just I want to remove this word superimposed. It's a nonsense word it is. Nobody superimposes anything. This is how it is. It's an incidental attribute. We have to use the word as superimposed, as though. It's not super, it's a real attribute. The potness exists in clay, but not intrinsically. It's a very big truth it is. Now let us look at, therefore, what is sat independently exists. What is asat? What? Is never away from sat. And therefore, a pot is told, you please know the Atma of yourself. It is one and the same. There are not many, there are not many clays. There is only one clay. Understand? There is only one clay. Two things are here. Okay? It's all made of clay. I must have one more. That is some big one in there, but that is for another occasion. Keep it. Yeah. I want plural. In Sanskrit, plural is not two, three. 1, 2, 3. You know what? I tell the pot, you are clay. This pot I told, he said, I am a crackpot. No, you are not crackpot, you are clay. You are clay. Crackpot, I said, not crackpot. Crackpot is different. Crackpot exists only in human beings. But this is, we are talking about pot. It's a cracked pot. I said, you are clay, don't worry about this crack. You are clay. And now, the clay, he says, so how many clays are there? How many Atmas are there? 3 clays are there, correct? One clay, one clay, one clay. How many clays are there? 3? In my calculation, 4. How? When you say 3, the one who says 3, he just to drive home an idea, okay? That's all. All that is there is what? One clay. Understand? Therefore, we are not afraid of many. We are not afraid of diversity. Why? Because they are all incidental attributes. This is different from this, and this is different from both. We don't even know what for it is. And therefore, so these are all a different thing. There is diversity. We are not afraid of diversity. Because all that is there is one, you can understand what it is. And therefore, that which exists by itself is sathyam, sat. And that which depends upon that something is asat. It is mitya, and it has no bhava of its own. If this is understood, then is there anything which exists independently, without the necessity of any other being? That is only aham in this world. Aham is like itself, as I told you. Aham, the I, is by itself as it is. There is no other thing which is like I, because it is self-revealing and everything else revealed to the self. It is self-existent because every existence is a revelation. It needs to be revealed. It is self-revealing and it is self-existent. Consciousness is. Now connect. Consciousness is sat and chit, and which has no limitation, spatial, time-wise limitation. Therefore, it has no abhava. There is no place where it is not also. Why? Because asataha bhavaha na vidyate. This is sat, which is bhava, and everything else draws its being from this. Space draws its being from this. Therefore, space consciousness is that sat and chit is Chit consciousness, sat is. So when you say space, space consciousness is. When you say pot, what? Pot clay is. When you say this anamika, flower vase, let us say flower vase. So flower vase, clay is. Vase clay is. Correct? Vase clay is. Not clay vase is. Vase clay is. And similarly, when you say space, space consciousness is. Time, time consciousness is. We'll talk about time a little more later. Time consciousness is. In space-time, anything that you say that consciousness is. Now, that any is what you say, is. It is all one is. What is that is? What is that is? That is sat. Sat means is. So what is that? Sat, chit. It is consciousness. That's why it is you. I need not even say that is you. Because there is no other consciousness available. You are the only source of consciousness. Everything else is object of consciousness, correct? Everything else is object of consciousness. There is only one thing that is self-revealing. Consciousness is sat-cit, and it is limitless, therefore ananda, not bliss. Understand, this bliss is another problem. It is sat-cit ananda. That is sat. And those who know, this is known only by those people who know the truth. Correct? Because this is the truth. This is the truth. Therefore, those who know are the people who know the truth. But they have to know both. That is why we are not talking of dissociation. We are not transcending anything. They will say that all this Oriental philosophy is practicing dissociation. They say this is not I, that is not I, this is not I, and that is practice of dissociation, and afterwards they don't accept problems, and therefore these kind of things, a lot of books are there, I tell. In fact, we are not dissociating anything from anything. That is a fact. That fellow is denying a problem. He is in great denial. And so here we say the whole Jagat is sathyam. All these are clay, sathyam. And Jagat is sathyam. The entire Jagat, including my body, mind, sense complex, is sathyam. Whereas sathyam is not the Jagat. B is A is not, pot is clay is not pot. Correct? Karyam mitya. Asat. Asat is the word used here. Karyam is mitya. Karanam is satyam. And the Karanam is you. Means because it is prajnanam, Brahma. Prajnanam is consciousness. And therefore, you are the whole. Now you understand why you are the whole? You are the whole. Space is you. Space consciousness, when I say, space is you, consciousness is you. Space is you, time is you, and anything that you say is you. So when you look at, in other words, the subject-object, when you look at, when you are thinking of electron, that electron and the subject, these two, this dyad, is whole. When you think of star, that is whole. This stargazer and the gazed star, both of them are one consciousness. Star consciousness is. Gazer of the gazer consciousness is. Both are subject and object, are not separate from Satchidananda. It transcends the subject and object. but they don't transcend consciousness. While clay transcends pot, but pot doesn't transcend clay. If it's a clay pot, of course. Pot doesn't transcend its substance. And therefore, Tattvadarshibhihi, by the Tattvadarshis alone, those who know what it is all about, they alone, they see these two. Then why don't you say one? It is not one. It is non-dual. One is subject to fraction. One is subject to addition. And therefore, this one has nothing to do with what we are talking. One has no vyavastha. There is no definiteness. We say there is no second thing. Then why don't you say all this is only one? No, I won't say that, because all these are sathyam, but sathyam is not all this. That is the truth. That is you. You shake off, that is why everything, and then you are ready for something else. That is gone. Again, you are ready for something else. You are ready for something else. You are ready for something else. You are invariable all the time. And therefore, so those who know the sat asat, asat is sat, but sat is not asat. Therefore, we need two words. To understand this whole thing, this Lord Krishna in the second chapter itself tells all that is to be told. Up front you tell. Don't hide behind and tell you late or something. Up front you tell. This is Satyam, this is what you are. Tell. Then let him say, I don't understand this. Then afterwards we'll talk about it. Okay? Mahaganapatin manasa smarami Mahadeva mudam shirasa namami Mahaganapatin manasa smarami.